And I don't want to waste too much ammo, so I'm going to break off. Because I want to keep him for some spare ammo and strafes. No tanks here? Tanks? Hype for dolphin carriers? Okay, hold on a second here. Let me just pause this for a second. Okay, so when it comes to carriers, no. When it comes to dolphin carriers, no. When it comes to Archimedes' death ray, no. When it comes to space battles in my space Hakuryu, fuck yes. Oh my god, yes, 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 yes. I honestly, see, as a community contributor, you don't owe WarGaming anything. You are essentially a third-party affiliate. You're press, right? Which is weird. So I am a journalist of WarGaming or Warships, right? And I honestly don't feel, in my opinion, WarGaming has a clue what they're doing with carriers. And I don't mean that in the sense of the rework. I mean that in the sense of the balancing that they're doing. When the Enterprise came out, I wasn't happy with the way they did it. It was bad. The AP bombs are a poorly thought out concept. They're good enough to work in the game, but they're not good. They're not well done. They're stupid and terrible. The Saipan is stupid and powerful and terrible. The Kaga is funny, but it's very powerful with its strike capability. But there's no consistency in the power level of a particular carrier. And the Zeppelin is just... It's on one end of the spectrum, it's retardedly too powerful. On the other end of the spectrum, it's retardedly too weak. And they've gone from these weird janky, like if you were to, like, you know those character stat sheets you see, you know, they're like a pentagram. So it's like he has this attack and this defense and this magic attack, you know, and that magic defense, and it would be like out of a rating of 5, he'd be like 5 attack and 3 defense, and you know, all these different variables. Okay. So rather than having like a balanced... Hold on, hold that thought. Well, rather than having a balanced bloody setup or thing, rather than having a balanced setup, no, they've decided, oh yeah, the Graf Zeppelin, 5 attack, 0 defense, you know, 1 billion this and nothing that. It's like, it's all over the place. Which leads for the fact that it is a very weird glass cannon. That it has a lot of potential to be good in certain instances. And some people in the right hands will have spectacular results with the Graf Zeppelin. Like, when you play 203, 2 fire, 3 dive bomber, which I thought we got away from that wargaming with the freaking American carriers, but no, apparently it's back. You're going to find that that's going to be hilarious. You just left click on shit and you blow up. You can't do anything to destroyers, ignore that, but you're going to left click on battleships and they're just going to delete. And there's going to be highlight reels of all this nonsense going on, and it's going to be funny. It's not going to happen all the time, but it's going to happen some of the time. Enough of the time to people post on Reddit thinking, what the f was that, and why did that just happen to me? And then with the torpedo bomber, the 1-2-1 setup, they reduced the fire strength, so it's still a glass cannon and one big thing, but no ammunition, no map presence, so you'll have, again, some really, really good scenarios where it's like super awesomely powerful and really great, but for the most time, it's going to be shit. Unless you're like in a really good player and it's in good hands and yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah, so and the Graf Zeppelin, it's not going to be good for ranked. It's not going to be good for competitive. Could it be good for ranked? No, the Enterprise will shit all over it because of the fighter reserves that the Enterprise has. Oh, and then you've got the circle drop pattern of the Zeppelin, which I appreciate the uniqueness of attacking a ship from all directions, but the circle drop pattern means that the vast majority of your bombs, half of them, are not targeted over the ship, whereas the Enterprise elliptical pattern, I can drop it over a ship, you know, I can get practically all the bombs to land. With a circular drop pattern, doesn't matter how skilled or aimed I am, the manual aim drop circle isn't pinpoint accurate, which is probably what Stuka should be. It should be like Kaga accurate circle, but it's not. Which means you're going to miss a lot of bombs, and you're going to miss a lot of bombs, and then you're going to have a random amount of damage, and this is kind of terrible. And I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's like, you know, so. Anyway. It's, I'm done explaining how I would balance it, because that doesn't mean anything. And WarGaming, they took my idea, they had a look at it, and this is like the most recent one. They thought, yeah, it's a valid, totally balanced process, it's really, really good. But the 121 and the 203 is the way that we want to do the Graf Zeppelin. They want to make a unique carrier over a balanced good one. That's the opinion of the crowd. Yeah, but I don't honestly feel that anybody at WarGaming truly understands the game they have made and how carriers tie into said game. I don't believe they know what they're doing. Because you talk to people like Octavian or Tuki or anyone in the EU office, look at their carrier stats, look at or ask them about carriers. How much do they understand it ties in? And it's non-existent. It's just not there. They don't know about it. They know, yes, a carrier has this and has stats this, but when it comes to the most important statistic about a carrier, the flight control group, the waves and the planes, it's all been very, very poorly done. All the premiums could be really good and balanced. If you made the Saipan, right, the Saipan, where the exit strafe lost a plane from 4 down to 3, but then 3 didn't lose a plane. So you exit strafe from 4 down to 3, you lose a plane. You exit strafe from 3, you don't lose a plane, because that's their argument for new players, and 3 planes is a small wave. That's fine. That's it. That small nerf makes a Saipan doable. The Kaga is... It's very powerful. I honestly wouldn't give it a torpedo bombing wave of 12. I'd probably reduce it to 10, but let's not go into that. The Kaga's funny, but its strike potential for a tier 7 to have the same strike torpedo damage as a Taiho or a Hakuryu, that's too much. And including the dive bomber, super accurate. And the 2 tier 6 fighters, you can get away with the tier 6 fighters. And they've got enough reserves. You could reduce the plane reserves of fighters, and that would make it slightly more vulnerable. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But it's still a bit too powerful. I mean, the Kaga's hilarious. And then the Enterprise. If we're looking at the Enterprise right here, the Enterprise has absurd fighter reserves. Now, okay, fine. It's got absurd fighter reserves. We can deal with that. But the 2 torpedo bomber squadrons are rubbish. They got this massive spread that they're only good for battleships only, and they do somewhat good against destroyers. Okay, that's a balancing perk. That's not its main offensive damage. Alright, whatever. So, what is the main damage? Well, they're tier 7s, which means the high explosive are Ranger HE, so that's rubbish. So you go with the armor-piercing bombs. So these are the original armor-piercing bombs, but the armor-piercing bombs are only good for tier 8 and below. They're not good for 9 or 10 tiers. Just like how the AP bombers and the tier 9 and 10 carriers aren't very good because they don't work at those tiers. So what are you good at blowing against? German battleships. So it devolves, the Enterprise devolves into, is my game going to be good? Well, it depends. Does matchmaking give me German battleships? And that's it. That's ludicrous. And the only reason that the stats show the Enterprise being particularly good, because this was around the time that they gave everyone a Bismarck for the event, or everyone had a Tirpitz and a Bismarck because they sold the Tirpitz at a certain point, and they all got annihilated from AP bombs, and like, oh, well, yeah, look at the damage numbers of the Enterprise, 100k, it's doing great. No, it's because in one specific scenario, the AP bomb does specific damage to a specific ship, and that's it. That's incredibly stupid, bad balancing. That's like a hard counter. That's not a general jack of all trades. I'd love the AP bombs to be accurate. I'd love the AP bombs or dive bombers as a whole to have some sort of meaningful preset damage, but that's not the case. And then the Enterprise's 222 is fun, and it works in ranked when it's against 222, but it's not viable in competitive because 222 can't fight against Shikaku's 312 because the reserves of the 312 Shikaku are enough to tie up with the Enterprise. So yeah, I mean, it's okay-ish, but the AP bombs don't really work in my sense, and I don't like the cross-dropping of the Enterprise. Could be so much more fun if the torpedo bombers were more accurate, but whatever. And then you come to the Graf Zeppelin, and the Graf Zeppelin has hilarious secondaries. It's got Hydro now. I don't actually have a Graf Zeppelin. I have the old one, okay? So this is the old one. But it's got ridiculous secondaries, which is a gimmick in its own respect. It's got Hydro, which is hilarious, pushing an enemy DD and smoke and then secondary on for whatever reason. And then the fighter control, you have a glass cannon wave of 8 and you have dive bomber wave of 8. So they both go up to 9 with their Spremster, right? Or superior, whatever. And so now you've got a wave of 9 in a single plane wave. The number of effective strafes you have is half because you've got 1 wave, not 2. The amount of strafes you can get is 2 and a bit, or 3. So it's really, really limited number of strafes, but it annihilates stuff with the strafe. So that's interesting. That's kind of gimmicky, but I understand there isn't like a glass cannon that's so fragile but also punches really hard. But the plane reserves in the fighters are diabolically bad. you've got reasonable reserves on the torpedo bombers and reasonable reserves on that one dive bomber, but the fighter reserves are too low. And it's as if they've turned it into a Strike Lexington, the 0-1-3 days, but given you just enough fighters to not make it striking sense, right? And I didn't like that. I wanted the Graf Zeppelin to be 2-2-1, but that's not going to be the case. All right, fine. If it's 1-2-1, increase the fighter reserves of that single fire, because at the moment you get 2 waves. You get the first wave, and then you don't even get a full second wave. It should be at least 2.5 or some nonsense like that. It's just frustrating. And you know, the fact is, I understand that the carrier rework is coming, but WarGaming has not exactly inspired me with confidence on anything with carriers. Like all the carrier related stuff they have patched and introduced, and I realize I'm waffling on here, so let's pick a ship and then go into a battle. Can we do tier 7s, please? So all of the stuff that they've done with carriers recently has been questionable to bad. Like when they changed the tier 4-5 meta so that carriers couldn't manual drop, what did that mean? It means you have a generation of players who oops, I need to wait for them to ready up. You have a generation of players who have made it through the 4s and 5s, don't realize they have an alt attack or have no experience on it, hit the 6s and 7s, and get absolutely destroyed by people thinking, what the heck are you doing? How are you killing all my stuff? And this happened before, but now it happens all the time. And the argument taking away the alt attack is the solution is flawed. Reduce the torpedo damage of the 4 and 5s. Keep the alt attack there, but reduce the damage the bombs do. Is a far better solution. Yeah, so I know the CV rework is going to come, and I know the CV rework is going to change everything. I am terrified that Wargaming is going to royally balls up the carrier gameplay that's currently in World of Warships, and I think they're going to turn it into some sort of horrendous point-and-click adventure. Very similar to what the Graf Zeppelin is. Now, I could be proven wrong, and I don't know anything about it. I know as much as you do, but I don't have a lot of confidence in where they're going with this, and it has me concerned. That's for sure, because it's like the main reason why I play Warships, because I enjoy playing carriers. So. Yeah, and they're not going to enjoy... They might be modelling the British carriers right now, but you know, if they're not going to introduce them. The Zeppelin, in its horrendous bastardized format that they're releasing now, is the last carrier they're going to do before the rework. Oh, man. Yeah, the Hosho's torpedo planes have the same strike as the Shokaku, not the Hakuryu. But the thing is, tier 4s and 5s, their ships are smaller and they're more maneuverable, so you can dodge. So like a battleship, you're looking to hit with 1 or 2 torps out of a wave, whereas in the 8-9s, you're looking to hit 3 or 4 torps in a single wave. But if you have a problem with people playing tier 4 and 5 and alt dropping, and then with people with low AA values, either you work to the carrier reworks that redoes the whole AA around the whole thing, or reduce the alpha damage that said bombs do. Cut it in half or something, so you have to work with flood of fires, or the damage received is less. I don't understand why you remove a fundamental learning mechanic of carrier gameplay, because carrier gameplay at 4-5 is radically different from gameplay in 6-7 onwards. Like, it's not just the bombing, it's the fighter control, and the fact that you don't have to worry about strafes, and you can fly next to an enemy fighter plane and don't worry about strafes, and you can bait it, and it's stupid, it's dumb. I will make a review on the Graf Zeppelin when 7.3 is out. I will be fair, but probably quite merciless at it, because it's just indicative of a number of things. And we'll see how we go from there. I don't want to be overly negative. I want to be very positive about the ship, and I probably will play the Graf Zeppelin and all, and it'll probably be a fun ship to a degree, but it's like, it could have been so good. It could have been so perfect. It could have been such a nice ship to play, but Wargaming's like, nah, let me smear this in some dirt. Anyway, where were we? We were listening to stuff.